Using heavy equipment carried up steep mountain slopes, Jim Thompson captured images that led directly to the creation of a national park.
He was always an avid amateur photographer, and probably his first big break came with the $1 Million Gay Street fire just before the turn of the century. He was on the scene with his equipment early on and made some pictures that were later reproduced in what was called the rotogravure at the time, the newspapers at the time. The original pictures in the mountains were more an act of a labor of love rather than a job for him. He got into the mountains early doing commercial photography for companies like the Champion Paper Company, but that early exposure really led him back more and more as a lover of the mountains.
What would he use to take his picture?
Well, he used a large format camera, usually an 8x10. That was 8x10 inches was the size of the negative. Large bellows type of camera. It took a substantial amount of apparatus just to carry it around. When he worked with a hiking club, volunteers would offer to carry his equipment. They would often get separated on the trail. It would take a lot of effort sometimes to get his helpers together. He worked, of course, in the days before good color was available to photographers. My grandmother, who was a very good color artist, or other people in his employ would add the color later on. Usually the greens and browns and reds were added in oil colors, the blues and sky colors were added in watercolors. This is kind of an interesting shot here. This is a 360-degree shot. What gives it away as a 360-degree shot is that the people on the left-hand side are also on the right-hand side. It was done with a camera like this one here. It's called a circuit camera, and it rotates on the tripod on a geared head at a specific speed while the film moves in the back of the camera to give you a 360-degree image.
How much does this weigh?
Probably about 50 pounds. Not something that you want to take on a 10-mile hike, but it sure went on a lot of them.
When Congress was considering sites for national parks, the Smoky Mountains weren't even on the list. It was a room full of Jim Thompson's photographs and a group of determined East Tennesseans that convinced congressmen to take a closer look at the Smokies. The rest is history. The splendor of these mountains is preserved in Jim Thompson's work with a power and a grace shared by few before or few since. Blessed with a keen eye that enabled others to see also. His photographs will be remembered as long as the national park he helped to create.